What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about how the LA Dodgers just won the World Series and how Clayton Kershaw is going to get his first World Series ring. So let's see what they have to say about that.
This subject, has Kershaw finally erased those demons?
The way I'll say
Yep.
this is he's exorcised the demons. You can't erase them because all the failures in the postseason in the past did occur. The fact that the Dodgers didn't win the World Series for so many years through Kershaw's prime, which has been arguably, I think you might even win the argument, the greatest prime in the history of baseball for a starting pitcher in the regular season, is because
I can agree to that.
he wasn't that same guy in the playoffs. So that doesn't go away, but it does exercise the demons. It gets the monkey off his back. He won 2 games in this World Series, whatever you think of pitchers' wins as a stat. His team won twice when he pitched in the World Series. And as a result of that, especially when he was a stopper, I know 5.
So to just check this out real quick. So he went in postseason, 4-1 with a 2.93 ERA, 37 strikeouts. That's absolutely out of control.
And 2/3, but nowadays that's a start. And coming off the kind of loss it was in Game 4, they needed that kind of start from him so bad, and maybe credit Dave Roberts for taking him out what looked like a little early, right? I mean, everyone's killing Tampa Bay right now because of Snell, but they took Kershaw out, even by Kershaw standards, maybe a little early, but it worked, and maybe he had been left in too long in the past, right? But the fact is, Koufax was a big game pitcher, as was Drysdale. They won World Series with those guys. Valenzuela was a big game pitcher. They won a World Series in '81 with him. Oral Hershiser, big game pitcher. They won largely because of those guys. Kershaw hadn't been, so they hadn't won. He was this World Series, so they did, and now he enters. Jeff, you were saying, oh, that's actually great company. But actually, Peyton Manning and Wilt Chamberlain, for all their postseason failure, did win twice. Kershaw is now in the Peyton Manning, Wilt Chamberlain conversation in baseball. That is tough to make the argument he's the greatest of all time, but he is in that conversation. And like his name will get brought up, even if he doesn't win the argument, and easy to make the argument that he's the greatest regular season pitcher of all time as a starter, who now has
I agree.
a World Series championship.
Well, listen, I would say this to you.
Yeah, so definitely like to say congratulations to the LA Dodgers. They really took care of business this season. I know it was a shortened season, but hey, it's all relative. So I'm very happy that they won a championship. They brought a championship back to LA. Same thing with the Lakers. I'm happy for Clayton Kershaw. Finally got the monkey off his back. He's about to get his first World Series ring. So hopefully they'll be able to do it, keep it up, and get another one next year. But definitely, I'm happy for the Dodgers. Congratulations. Congratulations to Clayton Kershaw and Mookie Betts and the whole squad that was just Bellinger. All those guys, Seager, all those guys that were taking care of business this year that allowed them to get a ring. So congratulations.
He's not a choker. I don't think that we can call him that anymore. I think we can get rid of that.
Yeah, but he has been choking these past couple of years. I know we got screwed over by the Houston Astros, but Clayton Kershaw has been choking. I'm just happy he won it this year. And hopefully there's more to come.
From baseball's vernacular, the bottom line is that the guy showed up in 2 World Series games and all the pressure in the world was on him Game 1 and Game 5, and he handled his business. Give credit where credit is due. Not only that, it wasn't his only stellar performances in postseason. He just had a few too many that were not stellar. He's got a career 2.43 ERA in the regular season, but in the postseason, it's over 4.
2.43 is the best of all time.
That's right.
Of all time since the dead ball era.
So the bottom line is that we know how special he is. I think that, he really, really would have erased a lot of demons, eradicated them forever if he had to show up in a Game 7 and he showed up and showed out. But even that, in all likelihood, would have been in relief duty. In the end, when he was called upon to show up in the World Series, with those cardiac kids kind of team in the Tampa Bay Rays, and he handled his business in Game 1, he handled it again in Game 5. I don't think we'll ever look at Clayton Kershaw the same again in terms of postseason. We won't sit up there and...
Yeah, there's no way you look at him the same again after winning the ring. All you have to do is get over the hump and get that first ring. Then everything else, you got a lot of pressure off your back.
Say the pressure's on you not to choke. You'll either show up and perform well or you won't. But what won't be said about him is that, just because it's the postseason, pressure breaks
couldn't
pipes,
win the big
and
one.
pressure
That one's
breaks
off
Clayton
now.
Kershaw.
Yeah.
You couldn't win the big one. That's not going.
Yup, and the first championship is always the hardest to get. Now that he knows how to win, he knows what he has to do. He has, the monkey off his back, and he's got his first ring. Now he can kind of relax and play his game and go out there and absolutely tear it up from here on out. From here on out, Clayton Kershaw is going to kill it. Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger and Seager, all those guys are going to put it together and they're going to win it again next year. I can't stress you how happy I am for Clayton Kershaw because he's been through a lot. He's choked a lot and he got screwed over by his Astros, like I said before. But now it's his time, and this really sets the tone right here. So the Dodgers are going to be nasty from here on out.
Are we like one big happy family right now? I feel like you guys just need to give each other a big hug because Max is being all.
Yeah, so I don't know about all that, but definitely everybody's a lot more happier when you're winning. When you win championships, everything goes a lot more smoother. I don't know about hugging each other and all that, though.
Positive about Clayton Kershaw,
Even
and
if
Stephen
it's
A's
not a pandemic.
agreeing with him. And this is the same week that Max came out and actually admitted he was wrong about something. Like,
memory
this
of that.
seems like a step
wrong a lot,
forward in
but I don't
first take
remember.
history. I'm really enjoying being a big part of this.
Thank you for highlighting that, Jeff.
There were a lot of things. You're welcome. You're welcome. There were a lot of things to take away from last night that were great. But to me, the moment that I appreciated the most, knowing the kind of person he is, and I don't say this about athletes a lot because we don't really know them. Clayton Kershaw is literally the guy who goes to Africa and builds houses and schools
wells,
for children there. Clayton Kershaw is a good human being. And to see him coming out of that Dodgers bullpen last night with just this smile on his face of joy, this relief, the monkey off his back, the weight off his shoulders, and pointing to the sky and knowing that not only could he call himself a world champion now, but wherever he goes the rest of his life, he can take that big left hand of his, put it on a table, and it's going to make a loud noise because the ring is going to be clinking on that table. For Clayton Kershaw to have that and to know that Stephen A. Smith will never use the word choker with him again, that Max Kellerman will give him credit.
I never did, Jeff. That was Max.
Oh, he can still choke. He can go to another World Series and choke on that, or choke before he gets there. But the fact is, he's got his first ring. He took care of business. Now it's a different type of pressure that is no longer on your back when you win your first championship, because you never have to worry about, am I going to win it? Can I win it? There's none of that doubt. Once you get that first ring, it's a different type of pressure. The pressure is a little bit more easier for you to win more championships. But once you get that first ring, you're definitely good to go. That's a great start.
Never said that about Clayton Kershaw.
I'm glad, but Jeff, I'm so glad.
I never felt that way.
Jeff, I'm so glad you talked about what kind of person he is. I rooted so hard for Clayton Kershaw throughout his career. First of all, because you think you might be watching the greatest who ever did it. And by the way, I said he had
Because you probably are.
lowest ERA of all time. He also has the lowest starting pitcher's adjusted ERA of all time, which adjusts for the different eras. So it's not even apples to oranges, apples to apples. He's the best ever in the regular season. And because you brought that up, I remember I was on the radio in LA. This man's going to Africa to dig wells to bring people water. Like, he's a good dude. If anything, I think his problems in the postseason, it's not even about being left in too long and all that stuff. He wanted it too bad. He was so wound tight in those big moments because he wanted it so bad. And so if you followed his career, you wanted it for him. But Jeff, I did call him a choker and I took no pleasure in it, because how many times I had to come on the air the next day and be like, okay, he didn't do it again, but this time he did it. 2 starts, and especially had he closed it out in Game 5, it wouldn't have been as good. The fact that he had to play stopper after a deflating, demoralizing loss that makes it feel like the baseball gods want Tampa to win, that he goes out there and pitches like that, and credit Dave Roberts, the move he made by taking Kershaw out. Which way do we want it?